Hello everyone. I'm Mas Jensen A. Madria, your instructor in zoology. We are done with mitosis. So I will discuss meiosis and gametogenesis para matapos na rin tayo with our cell division and reproduction. Let me fix my slides first. So let us proceed with meiosis now, the discussion about meiosis. So let us have the overview of meiosis. It is just the same with mitosis that it undergoes interphase, the prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase, and the cytokinesis. Pero ano po bang pinagkaiba ni meiosis kay mitosis? Sa meiosis po kasi, it is on the sexual reproduction, but in mitosis po, it is for the asexual reproduction, growth, and repair. And as you can see here in the meiosis po, is subdivided into meiosis I and meiosis II. In mitosis, the parent cell produces two identical daughter cells. Kung ano ang bilang ni parent cell, yun din po ang magiging bilang ni daughter cells po niya. How about the meiosis? In the meiosis po kasi, the diploid parent cell produces four haploid daughter cells after undergoing both meiosis I and meiosis II. So, the one diploid parent cell produces four haploid daughter cells. So let us have a recall about what is ploidy. So when we say ploidy, it refers to the number of sets of chromosomes in cells. So when we say haploid, one copy of each chromosome, and diploid, two copies of each chromosome. In mitosis po kasi it is only for diploid, and both haploid and diploid applies in the meiosis since diploid parent cell produces four haploid daughter cells. So three pairs of homologous chromosomes of maternal and paternal origins. So what are homologous chromosomes now? So when we say homologous chromosomes have the same gene, sequence, locus, chromosomal length, and centromere location. So ano po bang pinagkaiba ni homologous chromosome with sister chromatid? So when we see sister chromatid po kasi, it is identical and connected copies of chromosome. How about homologous chromosome? It is similar but not identical pairs of chromosomes from each parent, maternal and paternal. So kung papansinin po ninyo with the pair of homologous chromosomes, may nanggaling po from the parent and may nanggaling, may nanggaling from the paternal and the maternal origin as compared to sister chromatids that it is identical and connected copies of chromosome. It is a replicated copy po. So as you can see here in the example po, it is an example of homologous chromosomes, a pair of chromosomes. So one inherited from each parent may have different alleles. So kung mapapansin po ninyo with the pair of chromosomes or the homologous chromosomes, for example, ang namana or nanggaling na allele kay father ay brown and ang nanggaling na allele kay mother ay blue. So, one inherited from each parent po kay homologous chromosomes. So, homologous chromosomes, ayan po, egg with 23 chromosomes and sperm with 23 chromosomes produces zygote with 46 chromosomes. So in meiosis, only occurs in germ cells or the sex cells. Of course, it is for sexual reproduction. And in meiosis, there are two divisions of the nucleus. This type of cell reproduction mechanism, the meiosis, is also called reduction division. Bakit po tinawag siya na reduction division? As you can see here, the parent cell reduces chromosome number by half po. So ang nangyari po, the diploid parent cell produces 4 haploid daughter cells after undergoing both meiosis I and meiosis II. So kung si meiosis ay tinatawag nating reduction division, the mitosis can be called as the replication division. Of course, the parent cell produces two identical daughter cells. So ito po, homologous chromosome. Mapapansin po ninyo, as compared to sister chromatids, kapag sinabi kasi natin sister chromatids, ito po siya, buo pong itong chromosome na to, sister chromatids. But when we see homologous chromosome, may nanggaling kay mother and may nanggaling kay father. Ayan po. This is an example of homologous chromosome. These are the processes involved in meiosis I and meiosis II. And as we go on with our lesson, i-discuss po natin yung different phases of meiosis I and meiosis II. So in meiosis I, it is what we call the reductional division. Oh my God. Wait lang, ang ingay. Wait lang. Natin yung different phases of meiosis I and meiosis II. Is what we call. Okay, let us proceed now with Prophase I. Prophase I is subdivided into 5 po, which are the leptotin, zygotin, pachytin, diplotin, and diakinesis. But let us proceed first with leptotin. So when we say leptotin, each duplicated chromosome is in thread-like form but now starts to condense. Centrioles start to move toward opposite poles. So leptotin, it is what we call the tin threads po in the Prophase I. Again, leptotin or the tin threads. Ano po bang nangyayari kay leptotin? The chromosomes become visible under a microscope but are still long and thin, as you can see here on the image. The replicated chromosomes condense na po. So each chromosome consists of two sister chromatids but they are not yet fully paired. Let's proceed to another part of the Prophase I, which is the zygotin. So yeah, if you can see here in the image po, kapag sinabi nating sister chromatids, nanggaling lang po siya sa isang chromosome po. But when we say homologous chromosome, um, a chromatid, pag sinabi nating homologous chromosomes, um, it is similar but not identical pairs of chromosomes from each parent po. May nanggaling from the mother and may nanggaling kay father. So let us proceed with zygotin. Zygotin or the paired threads. Ano po bang meron kay zygotin? The homologous chromosomes. So the chromosomes pair with their homologue or the synapses. Molecular interactions stitch homologues close together point by point along their length with little space between. So in zygotin, synapsis begins. Um, the homologous chromosomes from each parent begin to pair up through a process called synapsis, forming structures called bivalents or tetrads. Ano po ba yung sinasabi nating bivalents or tetrads? Ito po sila. So when we say bivalents or tetrads, ayan po. So two non-sister chromatids of each pair of homologous chromosomes break at corresponding sites or the chiasma and swap segments or genes. So ito po yung sinasabi nating chiasma. So when we say chiasma, it is the site where the chromosomes break. So mapapansin po ninyo, meron po tayong nag-swapping of genes here, crossing over po. So Actually, crossing over and homologous chromosomes, um, it is the characteristic of the meiosis that differentiates it to mitosis. So a bivalent has formed and crossing over has occurred. So crossing over leads to recombination among genes of homologous chromosomes, hence to the variation in traits among offspring. So this is a homologous pair. Ayan po, may nanggaling kay mother, a father. Kapag sister chromatids po kasi, ito pong kabuuan, sister chromatids. Ito. Pero pag sinabi nating homologous pair, ito and ito. So, homologous pair, then synapsis begins po, and the crossing over, and the recombinant chromatids po. Kaya kung mapapansin ninyo with the result of the recombinant chromatids, after the crossing over, may palitan po ng genes. Ayan po, sa crossover region resulting in A to B recombination. So let us proceed to diplotin of the Prophase I. So when we say diplotin of the Prophase I, homologous chromosome pairs begin to separate and move away from one another except at chiasmata. So kung sinasabi natin si leptotin as thin threads, si zygotin as paired threads, kay pachyotin as thick threads, kay diplotin naman ay two threads na po. Ano po bang meron kay diplotin natin? So paired chromosomes start to separate slightly but remains connected or in the chiasmata. Ayan po dyan part. Where crossing over occurred tayo with diakinesis. So diakinesis, the nuclear envelope breaks apart. It's what we call the moving apart. So chromosomes become fully condensed and visible. Nuclear membrane starts to break down. Cell prepares for metaphase 1. To summarize, the prophase 1, chromosomes condense and homologous chromosomes pair up. Crossing over occurs between non-sister chromatids and nuclear envelope breaks down. Ayan po, to summarize, the leptotin, zygotin, pachyotin, diplotin, and diakinesis. In the leptotin, chromosomes condense. In zygotin, homologous chromosomes pair up. In pachyotin, where the crossing over happens. In diplotin, where the two threads, chromosomes start to separate but remain connected at chiasmata. And diakinesis, or moving apart, chromosomes fully condense and the cell prepares for the next phase. So yeah, Prophase 1 is a complex stage that is subdivided into 5 stages, each with specific events that led to the pairing and recombination of homologous chromosomes. So metaphase 1, recall that in the metaphase of mitosis, duplicated chromosomes align at the metaphase plate. Spindle fibers tug the homologous chromosomes into position midway between the spindle poles or the metaphase plate. Because of the random grabs, the positioning of maternal or paternal chromosomes at the metaphase plate follows no particular pattern. So ano po bang pinagkaiba ni metaphase 1 of meiosis kay metaphase of mitosis? It is how the chromosomes line up po. So in metaphase 1 of meiosis po kasi, as you can see here on the image, homologous chromosomes pairs, one from each parent, line up side by side. Papansin po ninyo, one from each parent. pair po yan. So mother and father nag-pair po siya as compared to the metaphase of the mitosis. So these pairs will be separated during the next phase. So in anaphase 1, spindle fibers shorten, pulling the chromosomes away from its homologous partner and towards opposite poles. So kung papansinin ninyo with anaphase 1, and ikukumpara natin siya with anaphase of the mitosis, kay anaphase of mitosis po kasi, sister chromatids separate po and produces, for example po, di ba, meron tayong two sister chromatids sa isang chromosome. Then right after the anaphase po ni mitosis po, it produces two chromosomes na. So, one chromosome, naging two chromosomes na po siya. But in anaphase 1 of meiosis, ipinaghiwalay lang po yung pair ng chromosomes po natin. Ito po. Papansinin po ninyo, in the metaphase 1, magka-pair po yan. But right after the anaphase 1, pinaghiwalay po siya with the opposite poles. One from the first centriole and the second pair to na po sa isang centriole natin. So last, in the meiosis 1, the telophase 1 and the cytokinesis. So the cytoplasm of the germ cell divides. There are now two haploid cells. So each cell has one type of each chromosome that was present in the parent cell. However, all chromosomes are still in duplicated state. So in meiosis po kasi, meiosis separates pairs of chromosomes while mitosis separates chromatids of individual chromosomes. This reduces chromosome number by half, kaya two haploid cells po ang na-produce with meiosis 1, preparing for the production of gametes in meiosis 2. So mapapansin po ninyo, two haploid cells from the diploid parent cell, it produces now two haploid daughter cells. Remember that in animal cell, the cleavage furrow is formed, but in plant cell, the cell plate is formed. So let us now proceed with meiosis 2. Kung si meiosis 1 ay sinasabi nating reductional division, kay meiosis 2 naman is what we call the equational division. So in Prophase II, interkinesis, period of rest before the beginning of the second meiotic division. The centrioles move toward opposite poles. Spindle fibers start to attach to duplicated chromosomes of haploid cells. So a new spindle fiber forms around the chromosomes. So in metaphase 2, duplicated chromosomes align at the metaphase plate. It is just the same with the metaphase of the mitosis. It is lined up at the equator. In the anaphase 2 naman, the attachment between the two chromatids of each chromosome break. Each of the former sister chromatids is now a chromosome in its own right. Newly separated chromosomes are pulled towards opposite poles. So kung baga, actually, the anaphase 2 of meiosis is just the same with the anaphase of the mitosis. Bakit po? Each of the former sister chromatids is now a chromosome in its own right. Remember na kapag um, sister chromatid pa po kasi siya, isang as compared po kasi with anaphase 2 po, mabibilang na siya as one chromosome. separated na po siya kaya 2 chromosomes na po. So kung kanina kasi 3 chromosomes lang po yan with the metaphase II. Right after anaphase II po, yung 3 chromosomes po natin naging 6 chromosomes na po. The sister chromatids is now a chromosome in its own right. So telophase II and cytokinesis, cytoplasm of the haploid cells divides. When cytoplasmic division is completed, each of the 4 daughter cells will have a haploid chromosome number. All of the chromosomes will now be in the unduplicated state. So again, the parent cell, it is a diploid parent cell right after the meiosis I, 2 haploid daughter cells, but right after the cytokinesis of meiosis II, ang na-produce na po ay 4 haploid daughter cells. Ayan po. So yeah, let us have the number of chromosomes and we will compare it with the parent cell. Let us proceed first with the meiosis I. Kung si parent cell po natin ay diploid and has 46 chromosomes, in Prophase I po, mapansin po natin, it is still 46 chromosomes, 23 homologous pairs. In Metaphase I of Meiosis I, inalign lang naman po siya in the metaphase plate. So it is still 46 chromosomes or 23 homologous pairs. But in Anaphase I, as you can see po, hiniwalay na po siya into different poles. Pero ano po ba ang bilang pa rin ng chromosomes po natin? It is still the same. 46 chromosomes but no homologous pairs po. Bakit po? As you can see here in the metaphase I, magka-partner po yung homologous chromosomes natin. But during the anaphase I, pinaghiwalay po sila. So no homologous pairs. Pero bakit nag-remain po ang bilang ng chromosomes natin? Bilangin natin chromosomes with the metaphase I. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it is still the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, pinaghiwalay lang po talaga sila with the anaphase I. So the telophase I and the cytokinesis of meiosis I, it produces now 2 daughter haploid cells, 23 duplicated chromosomes for each daughter cell. Remember that after cytokinesis po, 2 daughter haploid cells now are formed. So yung 46 chromosomes po natin, hinati po sa dalawa, 23 chromosomes sa first daughter cell natin and 23 again to the second daughter cell po. Kaya 2 daughter haploid cells are formed with 23 duplicated chromosomes for each daughter cell. How about meiosis II? In meiosis II, let us have the basis for the 2 haploid cells that are formed right after the meiosis I. So 2 haploid cells, we have in each haploid daughter cell, we have 23 chromosomes that are still duplicated. In Prophase II, we have still 23 chromosomes, 46 sister chromatids. Again, bakit po 46 sister chromatids? Remember that in each chromosome po, we have sister chromatids, 2 sister chromatids. So in metaphase II of meiosis II, 23 chromosomes, 46 chromatids pa din. In anaphase II naman, 46 chromosome which is unduplicated na po. Nag-separate na po siya. In telophase II and cytokinesis of meiosis II, 4 daughter haploid cells or 23 unduplicated chromosomes for each daughter cell. So balikan po natin yung product po ni meiosis I in the telophase I and cytokinesis. The chromosomes produced are duplicated, but in meiosis II, it is unduplicated now. 23 unduplicated chromosomes for each daughter cell. So yeah, from the diploid parent cell, after meiosis I, naging two daughter haploid cells with 23 duplicated chromosomes for each daughter cell. But right after meiosis II, four daughter haploid cells na po yung na-form, 23 unduplicated chromosomes for each daughter cell. So yeah, ito po ang overview of the meiosis I and meiosis II, the diploid parent cell. Right after meiosis I produces two haploid daughter cells. Right after meiosis II produces now four haploid daughter cells. And the difference between mitosis and the meiosis. So what is non-disjunction now? So when we say non-disjunction, it is a pair of homologous chromosomes has failed to separate or segregate at anaphase so that both chromosomes of the pair pass to the same daughter cells. So mapapansin po ninyo dito sa image po natin. So mapapansin po natin with the image here in the non-disjunction, with the proper disjunction po kasi, again, the non-disjunction appears in the anaphase 1 of the meiosis. Meiosis 1, proper disjunction po, ito po siya. Totally separated or segregate at anaphase po. But when we say non-disjunction po kasi, a pair of homologous chromosomes has failed to separate or segregate at anaphase. Ayan po. So non-disjunction during meiosis I, for example po, it occurs in the anaphase po at please don't forget. Wapansin po ninyo, the daughter nuclei that is formed kapag meron pong non-disjunction in the anaphase po, ayan po, abnormality in the number of chromosomes for each daughter nuclei. Meron tayo nitong dalawang chromosome. Pero dito, since non-disjunction happens, meron tayong 6 chromosomes dito. Then, after the meiosis II, isang chromosome lang po for each haploid daughter cell, pero dito is tatlo po. So yan, non-disjunction can happen it is either on meiosis I and meiosis II, but particularly in anaphase po. So because of non-disjunction, trisomy 21 or Down syndrome happens. Ano po bang meron kay trisomy 21 or Down syndrome? It happens when a person has an extra copy of chromosome 21. So kung mapapansin po ninyo with chromosome 21, instead of 2 lang po yung chromosomes that are paired, naging tatlo po siya, kaya trisomy 21 in the 21st pair of chromosome. This is caused by non-disjunction. As a result, one of these cells ends up with an extra chromosome. So when this cells joins with a normal cell during fertilization, the baby has 3 copies of chromosome 21 instead of 2. It affects now the person's development and appearance. So let us now proceed with the spermatogenesis and oogenesis, the difference between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So when we say spermatogenesis, it is the process of sperm cell development. Rounded, immature sperm cells undergo successive mitotic and meiotic divisions or spermatocytogenesis, and a metamorphic change or spermiogenesis to produce spermatozoa. So ano po ba yung sinasabi nating spermatogenesis? It is the process by which sperm cells are produced in the male reproductive system or the testes and involves several stages po. Ano po ang first stage po ni spermatogenesis? It is what we call the spermatogonia. So when we say spermatogonia, the process begins with stem cells po. So itong sinasabi nating spermatogonia, it is the stem cells. Produces more spermatogonia or develop into primary spermatocyte. So right after spermatogonia, the second stage of the spermatogenesis is the primary spermatocytes. So ano po bang meron kay primary spermatocytes? Primary spermatocytes undergoes meiosis that reduce the chromosome number by half. This results in two secondary spermatocytes. Ayan po, right after the meiotic division 1, na-produce po niya ay two secondary spermatocytes. The secondary spermatocytes now is the third stage of the spermatogenesis. So in secondary spermatocytes po, each secondary spermatocytes undergoes meiosis II. Ayan, meiotic division 2, leading to the formation of four spermatids. 1, 2, 3, 4. So secondary spermatocytes undergoes meiotic division 2 or meiosis 2 and produces four spermatids. The spermatids now is the fourth stage of the spermatogenesis. So when we say spermatids po, these are the immature sperm cells that still need to mature. It undergoes a process called spermiogenesis, where they transform into mature sperm cells po. Ayan na. So the last stage of the spermatogenesis is the spermatozoa or what we call the mature sperm. They are released into the seminiferous tubules and eventually transported to male reproductive system, particularly the testes. This is the summary of the spermatogenesis. Spermatogonia, right after undergoing mitosis, produce po siya ng second stage of the spermatogenesis, which is the primary spermatocyte. The primary spermatocyte undergoes the meiosis I and produces two secondary spermatocytes. After the secondary spermatocytes or the third stage of the spermatogenesis, the secondary spermatocytes now undergoes the meiosis II or the meiotic division 2 and produces four spermatids. The spermatids now undergoes spermiogenesis and produces the what I mean dito po kasi sa spermatids natin, it is still immature sperm cells. But right after undergoing spermiogenesis, it produces now spermatozoa or the sperm cells or the mature sperm cells. So spermatogenesis occurs in the seminiferous tubules within the testes. The sperm cells mature in the epididymis. Ano po ba yung sinasabi nating seminiferous tubules? So when we say that organ po, ito po, part po siya ng testes po natin. So when we say seminiferous tubules, it is the site where spermatogenesis occurs, housing for sperm cells po, or the developing sperm cells. So the last one, the oogenesis. Oogenesis is the process by which mature female gametes or the ova develop from germ cells. So when we see oogenesis as compared to spermatogenesis, it occurs in female reproductive system. Again, in spermatogenesis, it occurs in the male reproductive system, particularly in the testes, while the oogenesis occur in the female reproductive system, primarily in the ovaries. So primordial germ cell specialize into oogonium. So when we see oogonium, it is the germ cell that gives rise to female gametes. So oogonium is the initial germ cell in the female reproductive system that develops into an egg cell or the ovum, a diploid cell that undergoes mitosis to produce primary oocytes, which eventually undergo meiosis to, to form mature ova. Ayan po. Oogonium undergoes mitosis, produces primary oocyte. Primary oocytes enter meiosis I, but arrest in prophase I po. So meiosis continues, produces now the secondary oocyte, and it arrests in metaphase II of the meiosis II. Meiosis I produces secondary oocyte and a polar body. The polar body is much smaller because of unequal division of the cytoplasm. So kung mapapansin po natin dito, naging maliit na po yung polar body natin. It is the second polar body na po na na-produce in the oogonium. So the secondary oocyte and polar body undergo meiosis II but stops in metaphase II. So during ovulation, secondary oocyte is released from the ovary. Meiosis II continues only if the secondary oocyte is fertilized by a sperm cell or the oocyte splits into an ovum and a second polar body. So kung mapapansin natin, with the difference between the spermatogenesis and oogenesis, after undergoing the 5 stages in the spermatogenesis, it produces 4 mature sperm cells. But in oogenesis, right after undergoing the stages, it produces 1 ovum and 3 polar bodies. Saan po nakuha yung 3 polar bodies natin kay oogenesis? First polar body, the second polar body, and the third polar body. So again, spermatogenesis produces 4 sperm cells, 4 mature sperm cells, and the oogenesis produces 1 ovum and 3 polar bodies. So yeah, that ends the cellular reproduction and division, the mitosis, meiosis, and the gametogenesis. If you have any questions regarding our lesson, tanongin lang ninyo during our face-to-face session this week. So yeah, please don't forget the portfolio, your portfolio, both in mitosis and meiosis. So I hope you understood really well our lesson about the meiosis and the gametogenesis. Goodbye.